We all know the L train as this high-frequency CPTC 27-stop busy subway line that runs between Brooklyn and Manhattan. But today I will go more into detail about the L train and its future expansions for the line. Hi, I am Mauricexproductions, and I am an upcoming transit enthusiast in the transit world. And if videos such as this pique your interest, why not consider supporting the channel via the like and subscribe buttons, and also supporting our Discord server, which the link is in the description box down below. Now let's head right into this video.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next.
Opening back in 1865, the BMT Canarsie line, aka the L train for short, is one of the oldest pieces of MTA infrastructure that are still operating today. There are a total of 27 stations on the L line, making it one of the shorter lines of the subway system, but that doesn't mean it doesn't stand up against the bigger lines in the subway system. In fact, the L train is one of the most busiest lines in the United States, seeing 228,000 riders daily. Before becoming a BRT elevated line in 1906, the Canarsie line was operated as a steam dummy line. On January 13, 1916, the 14th Street Canarsie line was awarded its first contract to start constructing the 14th Street line. And following the time through 1916 through 1942, there were minor extensions on the Canarsie line, and the most important one is digging under the East River into Manhattan. Fast forward to 1999. The L train was slated to get Communications-Based Train Control, CBTC for short. These plans were laid out between 1999 and 2002, and starting in 2003, phases of CBTC were starting to be installed on the L line. In the spring of 2005, the R143s were equipped with CBTC, which was expected to run under full automation just with one single train operator. But finally, in 2009, the L train became fully CBTC operational, with the R143 stock only, but the R160s being equipped later that year. Fast forward to 2012, Hurricane Sandy heavily damaged the 14th Street tubes, being that they got flooded with gallons of salt water. The tunnels came back into service. There were lots of patch-ups to be done. In 2016, the MTA made an announcement about repairing the 14th Street tunnel tubes, and they said construction would start in 2019 and will upgrade and replace broken infrastructure. And in 2020, the completion of the project was finished, which was ahead of schedule, which is surprising for the MTA and New York City. And now the L is having capacity problems due to both of their terminals having bumper blocks. But it is time for an extension to make the L more useful than it has ever been. My proposal for the L train extension is an uptown extension to 125th Street, Manhattan. The reason why I didn't consider a Canarsie expansion is that Canarsie Rockaway Parkway is an at-grade station, and it's hard to expand due to the density of the commercialized residential area. But let's take an overview of this expansion. So after making a right turn after 8th Avenue and 14th Street, we will run uptown all the way to 125th Street, with stops in between being 23rd Street, 34th Street Hudson Yards, 42nd Street, 59th Street, 72nd Street, which concludes phase 1 of the project. After that, our next stops are 86th Street, 96th Street, 106th Street, and 116th Street, Columbia University, and finally 125th Street. Now, this is a large, ambitious project, and this is less of an extension, but more of a new line. So starting with 23rd Street, this station will be used as a connection to the M23 Select Bus service, which will take you to other avenues across town, such as 7th, 6th, and 8th Avenues, and also Lexington Avenue. But this station will focus most on serving the Chelsea neighborhood of Manhattan. Next is 34th Street Hudson Yards, And of course, this will be a connection to the 7 train, which will also help the growing neighborhood of Hudson Yards. In the future, there will be a Monahan train hall connection, but at this time, that isn't planned. But this station will receive higher ridership compared to, let's say, some of the other existing stations on the L line due to the area it serves and how much customers it can pull within that area. Next up is 42nd Street. It can be great only if that proposed 10th Avenue station on the 7 line was built, so there will be a connection. But there is still hope because the Port Authority bus terminal is just 1 avenue away, and we could always extend the L there and have a connection to the ACE through the Port Authority bus terminal. 5759th Street's John Jay College is going to serve the Midwest part of the Manhattan neighborhood and to serve the surrounding jobs, hospitals, and neighborhoods. Finally, to conclude phase 1 is 72nd Street. This will be our next huge transfer point with the connection to the 1, 2, and 3 lines. This transfer is most definitely going to be transferring because there's going to be a lot of people coming from the L train to the 1, 2, 3 trains, especially with this new extension of phase 1. Phase 2 and our final phase of this extension. This phase will follow the Central Park West lines, the 7th Avenue line. But the difference between the Central Park and 7th Avenue lines is that the L will act as an express due to its further stop spacing, which started with the 2nd Avenue subway. 86th Street will have a connection to the M86 Select bus service, and if you walk 1 block, you will have a connection to the 1 train, which makes all local stops such as 79th Street, 86th Street, and 72nd Street. 96th Street will serve landmarks such as Columbus Square and will serve the surrounding areas to take pressure off the 1, 2, 3 lines and the A, B, C, and D lines. Next up is 106th Street, which will serve its surrounding neighborhoods, but I know lots of people are going to say what happened to 110th Street. And I was going to say the same thing until I realized that every existing subway line in Uptown Manhattan has a 110th Street, and they all serve similar service. So I was thinking, let's move this down a couple blocks and let's serve a different area this time. Next up is 116th Street, and this stop is solely just to serve the Columbia University and the surrounding neighborhoods, but mostly Columbia University, and also you will also be able to take the 1 train too, which also makes the same stop. And our final stop on this extension, which will also be a huge transfer point, is 125th Street. 125th Street will serve a connection to the A, B, C, and D lines, and also a walk-in transfer to the 1 train and the M60 Select bus service. And this is going to make the 125th Street corridor more crowded than it's ever been. And this is a good stopping point for the L because anything after this has to deal with a lot of hilly and nasty terrain. It just takes longer to build when we're under that circumstance. So I think stopping at 125th Street is a great idea because this is like the last kind of normal point for the terrain. So I think this is I think this is a great stopping point. After this, there will be tail tracks and possibly an underground yard to store trains for the L line. All in all, this is a good extension. Due to the lack of service on the other lines, the L proven time and time again that it can be better than what it has anticipated to be and overachieved. This is why I consider the 10th Avenue extension for the L line. Now let's talk about the L Express service and why I didn't include it in this video. Now originally I was going to add express service to this portion until I thought there's not even going to be express service to extend past 8th Avenue. So why would we just have express service jump from 125th Street back down to 8th Avenue and so on and so forth? That's just going to cause more congestion. But this extension will be built with the 3rd track in mind, just in case if the train needs to skip any stop whatsoever. Construction, maintenance, track replacement, who knows? Weekend service, who knows? So a 3rd line will be available, but it will not be used for express service whatsoever. If content such as this piques your interest, why not consider subscribing to the channel? And with that being said, this is Mauricexproductions signing out. Bye, transit fans.